Gauteng government's hospitals have been hit by a string of violent incidents. The most recent assault involves the alleged rape of a male patient at the Bheki Mlangeni District Hospital, that's in Soweto. In another case, an elderly man was stabbed to death by a psychiatric patient. This hospital alone, we are told, recorded at least 10 other violent incidents between January and May this year. Former Health MEC Dr. Bandile Masuku ordered tighter security at the hospital's psychiatric ward, but it's still not clear if that directive has been followed. The Acting Health Department has now deployed a team to investigate. Acting Health MEC is Jacob Mamabolo. Let's bring him in. He joins us now live via video link in Johannesburg. MEC, thanks very much for your time and welcome to the AM report. Let me begin by ascertaining what we know as fact as you speak to me now about this alleged rape of a male patient at Bheki Mlangeni.
Well, firstly, good morning to you, to all the viewers, and let me thank you for the opportunity. The incident that you have just referred to, indeed, it has been reported to us. This was over the weekend at Bheki Mlangeni Hospital. But the facts around the matter remain not so clear, very sketchy, and that is why I ordered a preliminary investigation internally by our staff. They will present that report to me this morning, but in my full meeting with them yesterday, it became very clear that given the complexity of this matter, it requires an independent investigation over and above the one that will be completed this morning. We still need further investigations because of the complexity of the matter. Yeah, secondly, the patient is currently referred to Sterkfontein Hospital, which is a mental institution, for further observations from a clinical point of view. So that process itself, it's on, and we're waiting the reports, and the police as well are conducting an investigation.
So, MEC, you're not even able to share at the very least how this man got to a position where he was vulnerable enough potentially to be raped whilst in hospital. Surely those are the immediate questions you ask on the onset of a meeting with anyone at the institution who might have answers.
Absolutely. That's the meeting we had yesterday, where I was able to deep dive into the matter. And let me just say to you that the way this matter came up is that the patient approached staff and say, I was raped. And to that extent, the matter had to be investigated. So the circumstances of relating to the whole issue and taking into account that this is a mental patient, those facts are not clear as yet. And I must also say that the patient was since examined by a doctor at Baragwanath Hospital. And when we look at the report and just what has been said and the circumstances and condition of the patient, that's why we refer them to Sterkfontein for experts to do further investigation. So at this point, I must say to you that it will be completely incorrect to even begin to share with you information that still has to be determined. And I think I'll plead with you that let us give this process a chance and let's put correct facts together, because as you correctly said, we need facts to determine what is the real state of affairs. At this point, there are no such concrete facts.
All right. It's very difficult to be patient, MEC, because it feels like we've been here several times. In fact, this is the very same institution where back in May, we were told that a psychiatric patient actually stabbed another patient to death. It raises questions about how the department expects anyone in the community of Soweto to genuinely go to this hospital with prospects of any meaningful help. Do you reasonably expect people living in that community to still go to Bheki Mlangeni, given what, according to the DA, the 11 incidents this year alone that have already taken place there?
Well, Bheki Mlangeni handles a very big number of patients on a daily basis, every day. So I would like to assure the residents and community of Soweto that the hospital and of course, it continues to provide a service, that we are seriously looking at the matter of strengthening security. We are also looking at this whole issue.
That's what MEC, sorry to interrupt you there, that's what MEC Bandile Masuku had said, right?
Yes,
he had already spoken about tightening security ages ago, and it feels like that hasn't happened, because how would this latest incident have taken place if there was a follow-through on that directive? How do we take you seriously when this is already an assertion that's been given before?
Yes, let me just quickly make 2 points. The first one is that this particular incident, I think we should not reach conclusions on it. So let me just correct that part without facts. Secondly, you are right to say that perhaps this, commitment to strengthen security was made. It has not been done. And this is a recommitment we are making, that we will make sure that we tighten up security. And thirdly, we are looking at whether Bheki Mlangeni has capacity to deal with matters of mental patients, and that is again a decision we will make before the end of this week. The officials are evaluating its advantages and disadvantages as part of a plan to make sure that we improve security at the hospital. And lastly, there is a comprehensive assessment we are doing about just the overall capacity of that hospital to service the community of Soweto. That is another matter that we are looking at a much more comprehensive and strategic level to solve this problem and solve it once and for all. Okay. So those are the interventions we're putting in place.
Apologies to interrupt you there, MEC. We are a bit pressed for time, and there are several other questions I want to put to you. We're told of an investigation team that's now going to be sent to Bheki Mlangeni. What is the scope of this investigation team? What exactly are they looking to find? And, is there an expectation essentially for the community to expect more resolutions without necessarily having concrete plans to solve this issue? Speak to me, if you can, about this investigation team.
Yeah, let me just clarify that when this incident was first reported to us on Monday, the first thing we did was to put a team to do a preliminary investigation. And as I said to you, that the scope of that work was to establish, the circumstances and facts around this incident. And yesterday, when the preliminary report was tabled, and the final one will come this morning, it became clear to me that we're not going to get the totality of the facts as we need them. And that's why I've already made a decision that the report that will be tabled today will be subjected to an independent assessment. So that is with respect to this particular case. But I've already said to you, at a much more comprehensive and strategic level, we're looking at the institution's capacity to provide quality healthcare service to the people of Soweto. Why? Because there's been a series of lapses in internal controls to run that hospital at a level at which we expect it to happen. So we do have a plan to make sure that we deal once and for all with the underlying and root causes of the perpetual problems that continue to show on the aggregate at the hospital. Yeah. So that process is on track as well, and we will be continuing to update the residents of Soweto and Gauteng about how far we are. So we do have a plan to attend to this matter once and for all and stabilize that institution.
Again, MEC, two questions come up. Why did it have to take 11 incidents this year alone for there to even be talk about this plan? And even if the plan was actioned before this number got to 11, it's clearly not working, because here we are once again. But let me ask you this. There's perceptions, which I'm sure you're aware of, in Soweto, that Bheki Mlangeni is simply not the institution you go to when you need assistance. What do you make of that sentiment, which is very real and certainly isn't helpful, considering that Bheki Mlangeni was constructed to try alleviate the pressure from other hospitals, including Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital?
Yeah, let me just place emphasis on certain matters. The first one is that I am not aware that there was an attempt or plan at some point to try to deal adequately and comprehensively with the problems and challenges at Bheki Mlangeni. And I'm saying to you that plan, we are starting it this week. We will be appointing people to help us do a deep dive into the historic problems which are the root cause of the current challenges at the hospital. That exercise, I am giving you my assurance that we're looking at it because I've came to the conclusion that the piecemeal, interventions, once off, one after the other, that has not helped. You need a comprehensive, much more thorough process to deal with the challenges at the hospital. That will be the first attempt. I'm not sure if there was another one or if there was one before. So the notion that the plan has failed, it has not been implemented, it has not been attempted, I'm not aware of that. Secondly, the hospital itself, and let me also just say to you, I have visited that hospital immediately when I was appointed as part of my visit to about 25 hospitals. And I met with management and all the registered trade unions or recognized trade unions there. And that's when I made a decision that there are problems in this hospital that relate to when it was established. Just for example, if I were to share with you just how people were appointed at the very beginning. So that is why I made a decision then that there is no way you can solve these problems of this hospital if you don't go to the day one when this hospital was established, which was not so long. And the hospital, of course, was supposed to relieve...
if I can come in there, MEC,
yes.
Sorry. Yeah, it's a point you've made several times, and it's a point well made and one that I accept.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that point.
Yeah, sure. We sadly out of time. Let me ask you as a parting shot, do you think the CEO of the institution should be fired? What accountability is the CEO taking for these string of alleged abuses, so to speak?
The CEO of that hospital, there's no doubt, is not the right person for the position of CEO of that hospital. That became very clear to me when I was there. And just for you to know, the CEO was suspended. They didn't do anything about the case for 60 days. And in terms of the law, automatically the person come back. If in 60 days you have not finalized your case, the person come back. So we are going to also take action because in our assessment of this particular incident that we're talking about, it is also clear that the CEO did not do what they're supposed to do. So there's no doubt about the fact that that CEO is not supposed to be in the position. Was fortunate that those who were supposed to do their work didn't and had to come back by operation of the law. But actually, in my view, and I'm clear in my mind, that CEO is not supposed to be there.
All right, let me thank you for your time. Certainly appreciate you coming onto the AM report, sharing with us what you know. Jacob Mamabolo is the Acting Health MEC in Gauteng. I wonder what you make of assertions of more plans and, an emphasis that something is being done. Love to hear from you at Newsroom 405 is our Twitter handle.